Hello students, welcome back to the practical series of Enterprise Java. So today in this practical we will have a look at the JSP elements and everything. So from this session onwards, the JSP will get started and we will look about the JSP in detail. So let's start with the next practical, that is practical number 4A, and what it states that develop a simple JSP application to display values obtained from the use of Instrinsic Objects of various types. So first let's understand what are Instrinsic Objects and which are the various types of it. Okay, so Instrinsic Object means a predefined system variables that can be used in the code wherever required. So basically it is by default given to us by Java and we have to use that wherever and whenever we require. So what are the different types of Instrinsic Objects? First is the request type, second is the response type, and third is the session type. So what comes under request type is the get query string. So for example, if we use the get method and we have all the form data which is there with appended with our address bar, right? So those are the parameters which are there. So if we have any parameters, if any data gets submitted via get method and we have all the data, so it will capture all the data and it will display over here. Context path means the path and the name of our project. It will give the whole details of it. Next is the remote address. So it will give us the IP address and all the details which is present of our system. So these three are the request types which are there. The next is response. Requests are what we get from the JSP. Now what response means, what we set on it to the JSP. So what we are setting first of all is the character encoding. So character encoding means what type of data it should accept, right? So it is just UTF-8 because it is majority of the time UTF-8. The next is the content type. So basically in servlet we have many times seen what is set content type, and we have given the content type majority of the time just text HTML because we want that our page should properly display and it should support HTML content. That's why we every time give it as text HTML. Now the next and the last is set locale. So what language does it support and what language do we want it to support? We want to set over here. And the third type is session types. So we have already looked at what are sessions. So if you haven't gone through that, you will get the eye icon above and you can go through the whole session practical over there and you can see it, right? So what we will get is the session ID from it. So basically every time we load a website or we load a thing, we get a project, we get a unique session ID every time. So what we have to do after that is we get the session creation time. So when was that session created, and the last is when was that accessed. So basically we sometimes tend to happen that we are accessing a web page and we stop accessing the web page for some time. So what we do is from the current time we want to check what the last time it was accessed, so that we have to let the user stay on the page or we want the user to get redirected somewhere because he hasn't used the session for a longer time. Okay, so we have gone through this. Now let's look at the code and see the output for it, what actually data it has and what actually we want to get. Okay, so we will create a new project over here. New, here we'll write practical 4A. Click on next, click on next, click on finish. So basically here we don't require index.html, but here we require index.jsp. So in the web pages section we will create a new JSP page and give it the name index. So here we will give it a name index.jsp and click on finish. So our page is created over here. We'll remove the unwanted code. Right, in the title tag we will write just JSP page, keep it as it is, which is there. Right, in the body tag here we have to add many things. So first what we will do is, in the h1 tag we will write the topic, that is use of Instrinsic Objects in JSP. After that we have three categories, so we'll start with the first, that is request object. Now we'll start with one by one. So first we will have query string, irrespective, because here we are looking at the example, so we have to consider each and everything, whether we know that it will be present or it will not be present. So request dot get query string. Right, here we don't have to enter semicolon because it is a Java JSP tag. So here we'll have context path. We'll again do this, request dot get context path. Right, so here we will get the context path. On the next line, the last thing we'll have is remote host. So here we'll open and here we'll close. Request dot get remote host. We can have multiple things apart from remote host. Also we can get the remote address and many other things. So now let's have a look at the another one, that is response objects. In the response, the first we have is character encoding type. Right, opening and closing. Here we'll have response dot get character encoding. Now we'll have one BR tag. We forgot to give a BR tag over here. Now we'll have content type. Right, so what content type does it currently support, and we can specify if we want also. So get content type. Two are done, and the last now is the locale. So your response dot get locale. So our two are done. So now the last one is remaining, that is session object. So first we will get the ID, opening and closing. Here we'll have session dot get ID. The next thing we have to, okay, we haven't copied the BR tag about to, we'll copy it over here. Now what we have to get is the creation time. So when it was created, now what we have to do over here is we have to convert that into date. So here we'll write java dot util dot date, right, and in that we will convert this session creation time, get session creation time. So it will convert it into proper date time format and it will display us. Now last access time, when it was accessed. So opening tag again, closing tag again. Here also we will again convert it because it is again date format when it was accessed last. Here we'll have session dot last access time. So here we have covered all the Instrinsic objects which are there in Java. Now let's run this particular file. So run file. So here we want index.jsp file to get started, because here we don't require index.html. So here we have started with index.jsp page and our output. So it get loading. So okay, so here is the output. So here what it is, use of Instrinsic objects, the heading. request objects because the query string is null. Practical is practical 4a. We get the remote host, we get the character encoding, we get the content type, we get the locale, we get the session ID, we get the creation ID, and we get the last access ID. So here basically we are using all the inbuilt types which are there in Java. JSP, basically from the Java we have JSP, and we are just using it so that we can use it more efficiently in Java and we can get many other things with it. So that's it from this practical. Hope all of you have liked the practical and understood the content. Thank you so much.